always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart perspective.
Well, hello, everybody. You know, it would not be me if I didn't have my own quirky, idiosyncratic behavior. I'm going to say it like that. I mean, I got to have something go sort of goofy every now and again. Trying to push the buttons, and then here comes this. All right. I'm so glad that you guys are here with us this evening. I'm so glad to see you all. I'm very, very happy. We're going to get caught up on just a couple of current events, and you know, I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's just so easy. When I look at the situation that's going on right now, we just want to get ourselves, hello, D. Harris, Liberty Bell, Hazel Brown, Black Spring with Autumn, hello, the Valiant One, Melinda Ann Burns, hello to all of you as you come into the chat. I want to welcome you. Welcome you. I'm so glad that you guys are all here. Now, you know, there are a lot of things that are going on, and it's like we have to keep up. It's like Peyton Place almost. I don't know how many people out there really remember that. I may be dating myself, but Peyton Place is exactly what it's like. Tina Hardman, how are you? And so, yes, it is Peyton Place. That's exactly what's going on, but we've got to keep up with it. So we've got to share some of it. We don't have to feed into it, but we definitely have to get right into some of the things that are going on. Obviously, one of the things that I do want to talk about is the fact that we've been playing the ping pong game. That's right. The ping pong game has been enacted. We are going around in circles with the same exact type of stuff over and over again. And as you all know, the biggest thing on everybody's lips is the ping pong ball called the stimulus checks. Okay, so what's going on? I mean, what's really happening, right? Let's just check it out. We're going to get right into it because I just think that we need to. I can't see anything else that we should be doing other than getting right into it. So here we go. We're going to look right here at the stimulus check situation. You want to know when they're coming. You want to know what happened. You want to know all that good stuff. Well, the wheels of the United States government are turning to get the COVID-19 relief checks into the hands of Americans, even as debates rages over the size of the payments. Now, President Donald Trump called for $2,000 checks to be sent to eligible Americans last week, calling the spending bill passed by the Congress that offered individuals $600 a disgrace. He also said that it says that he argued that the bill had almost nothing to do with COVID. Well, he was not wrong there. I think we have all, again, beat that horse until you can't beat it anymore, and we all agree to that. So in light of the crucial timeline for Americans to receive federal aid, however, Trump signed the bill on Sunday night. The story goes on to say that still the president did not back down from his original demands to increase the payments for individuals. Trump's indignation over the billions granted to foreign aid in the relief bill and the limit of its help for American families prompted reconsideration of the bill in the House of Representatives. So, after deliberation on Monday, the Democratic controlled House approved a revised bill, a relief bill, that would raise the ante up to $2,000. That was the level that was proposed by Trump. However, its future is up to the Senate. So, several Republicans in the Senate majority have voiced their support for raising the relief check amount to 2,000 smackaroonies, including Hawley of Missouri, Loeffler of Georgia, Rubio of Florida. Okay, so we saw that. But now, does anybody want to tell me where you think we might be right now, right this second? Huh? Anybody? Let me go back over here. Does anybody know where we are right now this second? And Black Spring, would you like to join me this evening? Or anybody? Melinda Ann, would you like to join me? Black Spring, would you like to join me? I would love to have you. I'm sure the folks would love to hear what you have to say. I'm going to go ahead and send you this link in your email, madam, so that way you can see. However, it gets better, right? It gets better. I'm going to hold out because I'm going to send this link to our sister here and let her come on ahead and join us. But as you guys know, it just cannot, it wouldn't be America if we didn't have a thriller or a cliffhanger. It just would not be. I don't know what it would be. So I'm going to send this link to you, and I want you to join us and pop on in. I've learned now to only put them in here because it bears a problem when I keep them inside of the actual live. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that if I kept the link in the live, somebody could come peek in there later. So I had to go through all of them and remove them. But in any case, I digress. We're going to hear what Black Spring has to say today. And I'm really happy because I love my friend, and I'm so glad that she's here. She's so intelligent. Her channel is awesome, and she brings a very fresh perspective to coin a phrase. She really does. And so, this is what we saw earlier. And the creepy part about it is it even gets deeper than that. Yes, it does. Hello, Vern's Junk Closet. So glad to see you here in the chat with us today. I am so happy that all of y'all are here. I'm going to say that over and over again. She says, if I may, please don't depend on the government to save you. So here's the deal. There's only one who has saved me, and it was already done. It was done on Golgotha's mountain over 2,000 years ago, and because of that, I am redeemed. I am redeemed. I am doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And Steve, how are you? I am doing excellent. Melinda Ann Burns says, has anyone got the link for the PDF of what's in the new bill that has been signed? Need to check it out. Now, I know that Black Spring has it. I know she's got it. I've got it. And it's pretty lengthy. It's actually quite huge. So that's what I wanted to talk about, was the other shoe that dropped. And the other shoe that dropped is really something that made you a little ticked off. You're like, wait a minute, come on now, old man. What are you doing? It's like, what are you really doing? Why are you not doing what you need to do? And what is the problem? So, and as much as I agree 110% with Vern's Junk Closet not to believe in this stuff, nah, we don't. But it does make for a pretty good storyline, though, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Let's take away a minute here before our sister comes on. And I just want to ask everybody, what do you plan to do for this weekend? Hello, Derek C. Williams. What do you guys plan to do for this weekend? Huh? Yes. Listen mode, late to the party, but greetings to Biloxi, Mississippi's own Felicia Lockhart, listening to you live on YouTube from Philadelphia. I want to thank you so much for being here and doing that. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, and she is. We await her. Black Spring with Autumn. Yes. Hey, lady, how are you?
You know, this part. It's almost you need to keep a journal all day long. I mean, just about it. So I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think that something big is. I think either there's a big disappointment's about to happen, or I don't know. I'm running out of words. I'm running out of words, and I just think we're gonna have to we're gonna have to hold on to our faith, because I think that's where you're gonna be able to survive. It's where you I think that's what you're gonna have to do, because you can't trust any of this.
Yeah, I agree.
They're flip flopping. Let's flip flop the whole year. It took 9 months to get us where.
It took 9 months to get us here. It took 9 months to get us here. That's where it took us. And where does that get us? I don't know. But here's the deal. So it says, so there's a couple of different stories, as you guys already know. But one of the ladies asked, I'm not sure if you have an actual printed copy that you could read from, but Melinda Ann Burns asked about an actual copy of the most recent one that was signed. Do you have a copy? I have one, but it's on a PDF and it's inside of my phone because I have not transferred it over to my computer. Do you happen to have a copy of the most recent one that they did sign? And if you do, pull out some pieces. DC the Purple Diva says, Burns, hey sis, I didn't know you found my sis fee. We know each other in real life. Yes, in real life. We used to both minister together at the same exact church. Yes, we did. We were both a part of a very large ministry there in California. And she and I are real sisters. And I thank you for being here, Precious. Let's see here. Derek says 5 years change in 9 months. Yes, you are absolutely right.
Wow, Derek.
Okay.
Derek can always extract the quickly.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. DJ Vision, how are you? I see you are here. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. So do you have any? You got
I
it?
don't think I have that. I think I might have the previous one, maybe.
Well, here's a good question. Melinda asks, were any of the monies for foreign countries and other non-COVID expenditures eliminated? Of course not. They needed that to grease the palms of the people. They needed to shut up. They don't want any of those folks to tell the truth. So here, shh, keep the money. Just keep the money. Don't tell nobody that it was us. Just keep the money. That's what that's all. That's what that's all about. Of course, you can keep it. It's all right. It's all yours. Of course, no problem. So this is going to be an amazing ride. Now, here's what I do want to ask about. Has anybody seen the fact that, of course, Mr. President is sort of prompting everybody to go on out there to Washington and get their march on? They want you to get your march on.
I have seen that.
Okay.
Maybe I saw that someplace, but just at a glance, was it maybe it's a tweet perhaps?
It was 2 tweets to be exact.
Okay.
And yeah. It was 2 tweets to be exact. And yes, he's not going to prevent us from having any more of the lockdowns. He's not going to rescind, or he's not going to stop the national, emergency. He's not going to do the state emergency is still in effect. However, it is okay for you and your cousin them to go on down to Washington or on up to Washington, depending on where you are. And it's good for you to go ahead on and get your marching on. And he says that it's going to be a wild time. A wild time.
He's like a professional. He gets to gaslighting and stuff, and that's like, why, yeah. I mean, I get that, and I've been waiting for. Well, can I say that I've been waiting for that actively waiting for him. Okay, when are you going to when are you going to uncloak the, you know, the con? Where can you, places that you can uncloak the con? What else can you do? Because this doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for next week. It doesn't.
It's not a good look.
I don't think. I I
You don't
don't.
think so?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how Pence is in the seat. He's in the hot seat. He's even being sued.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know whether he's going to. They said he should he decide to, that's a condition. If Pence doesn't decide to count those votes that have been, questioned.
So who do they want to do it? The Supreme Court or somebody? Who do they want to count them? Who are they looking for to
Well,
count them?
they
Are they
don't.
looking for the Congress? Or what, just leave it alone? I mean, where is it? Are they going to bring it to my house? Are you bringing it past my door? Who's going to be counting next? Autumn. Who is it? I don't know. And here's what Dee Harris has to say, and that's exactly what I think. She and I were chatting earlier on one of the posts, and I agree 110%. That is exactly what's next. Yeah, another one. Here's another one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
may I ask you this, the Lockhart perspective? Do you think that the extension of the emergency order proclamation, do you think that was more about him?
I think it was.
Was that buying time or on some level, or I'm not sure. Do you think that was strategic? Let's
I
put it
don't
that way.
think I don't think that a lot of the stuff that at first we thought was strategic from him was actually not strategic. It was more like blunder because he had so many people around him and still does that sort of pushing his buttons. And it's something when you've got somebody that's easily excited or easily incited. Uh, so yeah, so I don't think that. No, I don't think so at all. I think that uh, if he doesn't pull a rabbit out of his hat, like Rocky and Bullwinkle over the next couple of days, I'm just gonna go ahead on and just call it. I ain't talking about it no more. I just because I mean I'm waiting for the big shoe to drop. So I think that he just has people around him that give him bad information, and I think he follows it, thinking that he is doing the right thing. I believe that when he came into this, he was trying to look at it as if he was an actual manager or a CEO of a business, and comes in and wants to keep things sort of calm and clear it out as he goes and learns the new staff. But see, what he didn't understand was, which I'm sure he did, but because he's known these cats for years. I don't think he got it. I think what he thought was he was just going to be able to come in and do his thing, and that was going to be it. And he's going to have everything go peaceful. But as you can see from the very inception, things have not been nice. Things have not been nice at all. Things have not been cool. I mean, he started getting fought against before he even took office. They were plotting and doing stuff. So he should have looked at that, and that should have led him to understand what he was dealing with, the level of depravity, the level of the mud and the sludge and the dirt and the just the garbage. He should have known that, but he didn't. Bless his heart. I don't know what he was thinking. And you know what? Here's the deal. If he did, either he's completely complicit, or he's as dumb as a bag of hair.
Well,
I said it. It was me. I said it.
yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I think sometimes the amount of liners that come out throughout the day. At one point, it's the people in, is as you're as what I think you're saying, is that the people around him have just been, it's a bunch of, I don't know. I don't even call them rhinos. I don't even call
You are so funny. I said that exact same thing earlier today.
not anymore. They're
I was
worse
like,
than
these aren't even rhinos. I'm like, these aren't even rhinos. They're just rats. And look at what Rusty Smith says. That's right. They're all in it. There is no, this thing is so sketchy. And that's why it's like, you know what? I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say anymore other than the fact that, yeah, Get your stuff and just get out, buddy. Do something. If you ain't gonna do something, you need to go head on and get out. My brother and I were both saying, just pack your stuff. Like we said before, I said it once. Pack your stuff, get your little dog Toto, your wife, and your son. Bless all y'all hearts. Bless your hearts. But please leave. Because this back and forth with acting like he has no strength and acting as if he has no power and acting as if he is the victim, that stuff begins to wear on you after a while. You cannot tell me that you, sir, are the victim. You cannot tell me that. I'm just not going to believe it. I'm just not going to believe it.
Well, I'm like I said, I'm holding out at this point. I'm gonna, I'm gonna go back into a holding pattern until next week. I mean, that's kind of where I've been, but I just, yeah, yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, I don't know because a lot of people seem to think that that Pence is compromised, and I just
The only thing, I don't know what's going to help this situation. I just don't. Either direction we go, it's like being down a two lane highway, and one road is going this way, the other one's going north, one's going south, and unfortunately the north side is backed up and you're heading south. Then you get to the end and there's a big gigantic marsh, and now you got to try to turn around, and you can't turn around. You're just literally stuck. That's where we are. That's America. That's where we are. We're stuck like Chuck, waiting on a buck, 2,000 of them to be exact. So what do you have for me, madam? What's going on? Tell us what's happening. Tell us what's new. I
Okay,
want to
well,
know.
okay, so I will say that I'm gonna kind of go on the coattail of my last stream was
Please.
that Perna, they're telling it's like we're revisiting 1984 again because
Uh-uh.
they opened up this. I read this article that talked about Perna saying, "Oh, I'll take the blame for this for the mocktail being the logistics and being a disaster and." But then they said, "Oh, but you were warned by the Cassandra like chorus before this happened." And okay, so here we go. Here we go with him. Okay, so he didn't get it right, but the Cassandra like people warned him. So I'm just thinking they just keep this whole rhetoric going. They've got this whole wartime thing. They keep this, they lace all of these articles and narratives. And I just think that they're setting up for that we're going closer, we're getting closer and closer to some form of global governance, including health. Because I'm thinking, oh well, they can't, you guys can't handle your own health care anymore because it's a failure on the mocktails, distribution and everything was a failure. There was a whole list of things that they basically just said that our systems were inadequate. And
Mm.
I have done a couple of pieces on the Pope saying earlier this year that we should all surrender our sovereignty because the states can no longer handle the human conditions
Uh,
and going forward.
mhm.
So yeah, I mean, and I see that they're smearing, they use that whole thing to smear the capitalism again. And you need somebody to take over. They're the overreach. I think they're ready to overreach even more is what I'm saying. In terms of control,
Okay,
they
so
want more
okay,
control.
so they want the Janet Jackson control. Got it. Okay, listen, here's what AZ Infidel says. He says, Autumn Louis Gohmert is suing Mike Pence to give him the power the Electoral Counting Act takes away from him. Um, AZ, do you want to come in? Do you want to join us? Do you have his email address, Autumn? AZ
Uh,
Infidel by
I think
chance?
it's here. Let me try. I think I do have it. Let me just try to plug it
Well,
here.
I'm sitting up here saying that like he's agreed. Hello, SCDHL, meaning scheduled, I think. Yes. Uh huh. That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
That's right.
I did report on that earlier, with the Gomer situation, but I'm like, but is he going to do that? That says, decide to should he decide to use his latitude? You know, that's, you see what I'm saying?
I
Like,
do.
I don't know what it comes down to, what he can do, what he's going to do. To me, those are always two different things.
That's right. That's right. And Rusty Smith just said something very, very powerful. And we all know and we agree with Rusty Smith to praise the Father, not Trump. You know, that reminds me, there is a YouTuber and he is so hilarious. I happened upon his channel the other day. And do you know he actually calls Trump, and I'm going to quote him. I will not say his name, but I will quote him. He calls him the Great White Hope.
I know who you're talking about. Ding, 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 ding. I know who you're talking
Can you
about.
believe this cat? He literally calls this man, a human being, the Great White Hope. I just had one question. How's that working for you?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Where's AZ? Is AZ?
AZ Infidel, would you mind coming on? Would you like to say a couple of words? We would sure love to hear from you. Both you and Paralysis by Analysis always have such good input in the chat, and I would love for you to come on. If you want, you can just use your avatar. We don't mind, but we definitely would love to hear from you. I see that we have Robert Ingram coming on in. We're just having some casual conversations, you guys, about what's going on. Nothing big, nothing pressing, nothing very tailored, but it's just all of us being able, as I feel like we should always do, putting our ideas out there and throwing it, throwing it out there. Just cast it out there on the water. He says, look up inclusive capitalism with the Vatican and see the banksters joining with the Pope in monetary unison. I know that's right. I already know that's right. And Tina Hardman says, the great orange carrot. More like it, not hope. Okay. And you got to laugh at some things, right? Diane Brown says Gina Cloven Hill did an amazing video on the psych war they are playing in us, or they're playing on us. That's right. Just saying. Very good. I agree. And that's exactly what it is. And didn't we talk about that last week? Is if they can keep you, distracted. I think we even said that last night. If they can keep you distracted, then they've got you right where they want you, because then that means you're not thinking independently and you're not thinking for yourself. That means when you go to the store, you're just buying what you need for right then. You're not buying what you might need. You're just buying a little bit for right now. You're not buying nothing for later on. You're not buying anything for down the road. You're not getting any extra candles. You're not getting any new batteries to go inside of the flashlights. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're not buying a couple of extra gallons of water. Why? Because you're wrapped around their finger. And that's exactly how they want it. So we are going to look into some things here. There's a couple of things that
still there.
I'm here. Are you here?
Okay, I'm sorry. I had a little bit of a flash in my connection there.
Oh, no, we don't need no flashlights. This is not Parliament. And hey, let's talk about one thing of importance, and that is the streaming thing. That streaming situation is a lot deeper, I think, than people really think it is. And it was not toward the Hollywood movies. Frankly, how many Hollywood movies, with the exception of a couple, have actually been under production over the past, over the past couple of months since this thing has happened? How many? How many? Not a lot. There are not a lot. There's not a lot of them that have happened over the past couple of months. So who is it that they're really going after? I mean, think about that. We sort of tapped onto it not too long ago, and we thought, okay, well, it must be then us. Liberty Bell, I want to thank you very much for being a new subscriber here. I was blessed last evening with a visit from Monograph, and they did a raid on the channel, and some beautiful people found another a second home. We're going to call this the Southern home, and they found it here on the Lockhart Perspective. And I am so appreciative of each and every one of you. I went back to his channel and I thanked him for raiding my channel last night. It was a blessing, and I so appreciate you guys. I'm so happy. I don't think that we have a yes from the man, the myth, the legend, AZ Infidel, in a world.
Oh,
But I do have my paralysis by analysis. Do you have his email? Paralysis by analysis. We are now sending them out. Thank you so much, Liberty Bell. It means so much to me. I hope that you feel at home here. I have some of the best chat rooms around. I have some of the best moderators in town, and that's just the name of that tune. Steve Willis says there are so many people sending me links to these prophets who are claiming victory for their savior, Trump. What will they do if he's out? If he
okay. Let me
gets back
hang
in? Madness.
on a second. AZ, I'm on it. I have it here. Felicia, I will put it here for you.
Okay, you're gonna
Just
stick it over here.
yeah, I'm gonna put it into your magic.
Okay, my magic compartment over here, my little
Yes.
pouch. Okay, put it in my little
Okay.
fupa pouch. Thank you. Yes. And we will go on ahead and send this out to you, kind sir. Steve Willis, very, very intelligent man. Mr. AZ Infidel, all of you guys have so much. I wish there was a way. And wait a minute, I'm not going to say that anymore because Ronnie Mann found a way that we are going to actually have call ins now. And I am so excited. He's not here right now, but I am elated. And I want to say thank you to him for that. There's just nothing like it in my impression. It's just nothing like it. I'm really, really ecstatic. I don't know whether you guys can tell or not, but like if you could see me smiling, if I could really, really smile, yeah, that's what you'd see it, sister, brother. It'd be me grinning.
Oh my god, where did you go? Just think, oh my god, did I lose the connection again? Wait a minute. Is anybody else out there? Hello to the chat. Um, Tina Hardman, hello to you. The Lockhart perspective. I don't know if I lost connection or something, or did you mean to drop out? Let's see, I'm not sure. Not sure what happened, but hope you guys are doing well out in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. And AZ Infidel says, going to hit the red button. Let's see. Oh no. Okay, I'm not sure. Hi, Burns Junk Closet. Let me see. You guys hang tight. Let me see. What should we do? Oh, there you are.
Just leave it to me to Lucille Ball everything. I'm just like, Lucy, you got some splaining to do. And I stopped hearing your voice and I was like, I wonder what happened. Where is Black Spring? I don't hear her anymore. Duh. You're gonna have to put his Duma Flickum back in the chat. When I drug it over to the other side and cut everybody off, I sort of got nervous and yeah, well, I sort of lost it. If you don't mind,
Yeah,
is
sure.
it still there in the private chat? No, I don't see it any longer.
Here,
I think
I'll just copy it and paste it.
I'm so glad that you were in here. Can you only imagine? I get myself into such blunders when it comes to all of the technology stuff. I'm actually glad that I'm not really that technically savvy to a point, just to a point. Not bunches, but just to a point. All right, AZ Infidel, I want you to look for this to come your direction. And I hope that this works this time. I really do.
Thanks so much, guys, for being here. It'd be great if you guys could hit the like button. and help us out with the channelytics.
Uh, sorry. Black Spring, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send it to you and you can send it to him. How about
Okay.
that?
Okay. I can
Yeah.
do it from my box, right? I'll do it from my box right now.
Okay. Can you do it? And so you'll invite him on your side or my side?
I'm going to just forward this. I'm just going
Ah,
to
yes. Yes,
just
soul
forward the
sister.
link
We should have
back.
thought about that earlier. So, anyway, I want to know what everybody's going to be doing for this weekend. Put it down in the chat, and I want to see if it compares to what I'm doing because I really don't think any of you guys have got me beat, but you just might. So, we're going to count to about 4, and then I want everybody to put it in the chat. Actually, put it in the chat, and I'm going to give you guys an award. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you an award. As soon as you guys put in the chat, we're going to see who has the best idea for what they're doing this weekend in old people celebration style. And the reason why I say that is because, well, I'm old. Okay, let's see what we got coming here. Okay, family time. Leaf Desi, hi. How are you? Yes, Leaf Desi says family time. Very good. And then Steve Willis says, going shooting with my family and friends. All right. Very good. Okay. And we have DC says, painting the picture and working on my book. Oh, I can't wait to see that. Tina Hardman says, staying home and reading my Bible. You're old too, girl. I'm telling you. Charles Downey says, grill in and chilling. Mm-hmm. And then R. Jones is going to be getting caught up on some well-deserved R&R. Sleeping. Yeah, right? And then Diane Brown says, spending time with my hubby. That is so beautiful. I think that is so sweet. Let's see. Doing good, but working hard. LOL. I'm with you on that. Hello, kind sir. How are you? I wanted you to give some input. We're going through what everybody has planned this evening. Paul Graves, how are you? I'm wonderful. So good to see you. And so Forgiven and Blessed says that she's going to be hanging out at home with the cats and the chickens, building a new chicken coop. Very good. Very, very good. It's good to be self-sufficient, and having chickens is one definite way to do it. Dry canning, flour, cornmeal, etc. That is from Henrietta Simon. I love these people. Derek says he has a slumber party, grown and sexy out in the suburbs. Grown and sexy out in the suburbs, New Year's Day, body shock, gunning for 200 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 200 squats with 35-pound kettlebells. Well, darn. I'm sorry, you won. He just won. D. Harris says, my daughter and fiance is coming this weekend, and if I don't fall asleep, we'll watch the crab drop at the beach. Hey, I'll probably be long asleep before that. Okay. Okay. DC, the Purple Diva says, hey, Paul, glad you found my sis. Yes, she is my sister. Laurie says, dinner with friends, dinner party in my hot tub. Ooh, ooh, in our hot tub. We will not be masked or social distancing anywhere, okay? And you know what, Rachel? I ain't playing with you. Rachel said, I'm going to be paying some bills. Y'all can go ahead on party all you want, but I'm going to be paying some bills. Joseph Francis Burton says this weekend packing for business travel. We want to wish you Godspeed on that trip, sir. And Scheduled says, love this show. Thanks. Oh, you're so sweet. I love you too. Lasagna dinner. Having a lasagna dinner with my family. Oh, Truth Seeker 2020. I love lasagna. I love lasagna. Melinda Ann Burns says, Joseph, not so good. More planes than usual. Just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Paralysis by analysis says, Joseph at Joseph Francis Burton. What did you say business was again? Okay, so that's pretty much what we got going on here. I think we're pretty much done. No, I'm sorry. Sherry B, thinking of doing my no mask flash mob party in the grocery store.
Wow.
in the grocery stores around as is that South Dakota SD and checking on the hospitals to see if they're in to see if they're empty. Melinda Ann Burns says, home with my girls and drinking eggnog. That sounds very, very nice. I hope you got a cozy fireplace to go with that. Don't forget the black eyed peas and cabbage, Diane Brown says. And Derek says again, gunning, I won't make it most likely. Gunning won't make it most likely. Pharrell says he's a physicist. If you remember, he shared that with us before. He's a physicist. And I did check out his channel. I don't know if you guys have checked out his channel, but it's very good. Okay. And we also have DJ Vision. Barnett says, moving into a new apartment and buying more for my gun collection before Biden stops online sales. First guns and then gun parts. Executive order from the big guy. Okay. And let's see. I think we're done. Oh, what are you going to be doing, paralysis? Isn't the other superstition to say rabbit, rabbit as soon as you wake up? Oh boy, I don't know about that one. All right, folks, that sounds like some good stuff. And Vern's Junk Closet says she's going to be watching. 2021 will be watching me sleep, laughing my A off. I know that's right. No one at my hospital, more security than pay. He's saying, and where he worked, it's more security than patients. Help here, Holy Ghost. That's classic. All right. You know what? I'm so glad that you are here, kind sir. And thank you for allowing me to share with our family and friends here in the chat. You know, you always drop such exceptional knowledge, AZ Infidel. And I just want to give you an opportunity to share with us exactly what you're saying in the chat about specifically dealing with, I think it was Pence is where you were giving us some insight, piggybacking a little bit on what our sister Black Spring with Autumn said earlier. So what say you, kind sir?
Well, first I would say, Autumn, do not give up hope yet, because it's still early. Now,
I'm just honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I see a lot. I guess I just read a lot of things, and it's just the people in this it's like an egg or something, like a fried egg or something environment, and he's in the center, and then you've got all this around, and I don't know. I just think this is a snake pit at times.
well, there's a lot of psychological warfare going on. They're trying to convince us that we have lost. That there is no evidence of election fraud, but we know that that is not true. Now, I just started learning about this lawsuit today, so I don't know everything about it. I want to qualify what I'm saying, but I do understand certain parts of it.
Yeah, well, I did read a couple of different
Yes.
I think
Yes.
I read quite like the bulk of it, and I did even also get some perspective from some other like constitutional scholars or whatnot, professors.
Yes.
But I'm just wondering if it's something that if Pence is going to is he going to be held to, is it something he's going to have to do if he's I don't know the legalese on what latitudes he actually has, or
Okay, I'm not certain of that completely. It's like we can read the Constitution or the Bill of Rights and it says certain things, but other things have been fought out in court to like broaden things that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights says. And this one is talking about the 12th Amendment, which I honestly can't say I understand completely because there's been other court decisions in the past surrounding it. For instance, I had never heard of the Electoral Counting Act before.
No,
But
I
apparently,
hadn't heard of it either.
yeah.
That's supposed to be
So,
unconstitutional, right?
well, that's what they're saying. But see, none of us, unless we're legal scholars or very good lawyers, can understand the entire scope of it. But what they seem to say is that the Electoral Counting Act restricts Pence's authority under the 12th Amendment. Now, the other half of it is that, oh, well, as far as the lawsuit goes, Louis Gohmert is suing Pence on behalf of Pence and the Constitution, saying that the Electoral Counting Act restricts Pence in what constitutionally he can do. But there's another aspect to it which I don't understand, and that is what we had been expecting January 6th was that they would come together with Pence's the president pro tem. The Congress would vote by state, and so would the Senate. So the Congress would have 50 votes, and the Senate would have 50 votes. What I'm trying to understand is that if this lawsuit is successful, only Congress would vote as the 50 states. Now, that, in order to work, would have to coincide with Pence disallowing the Democrat electoral votes from those states. What is it now? 7 of them?
Yeah, I
And
think
accept,
roughly. I think yeah, I think, and it seems like Georgia's in the pot now. So
yes,
yeah, the
and
battleground slash wing is what they're
yes,
in the mix
and
there.
well, by accepting the Republican votes, supposedly from people who have a better count than you or I do, say that it'll push it over that 50%, 26 to 24. So there's a wild game of chess going on.
And you're talking to a non-chess player.
I know neither are any of us. We're learning this firsthand. But I mean, these have been things that are dropping like daily, if not weekly, of things that we weren't aware of now. And hopefully we will become constitutional experts by the time all this is over.
Yeah, I think so. You know, there are a few people who are very good with constitutional law and things of that nature, even here on YouTube. And sometimes when we look at those kinds of truths, it lets us know that there were things put into play by the framers that
Yeah,
were very prophetic in nature, if you will.
yeah,
Even though at that particular time there were things still going on, because again, there is nothing new under the sun, right? So a lot of these things were still going on then. But I think what happened is, as time moved forward, there were people who had the desire to destroy the country, and so they began to make the amendments and the Constitution a thing of prejudice and a thing of bigotry. And so what ended up happening was, in my opinion, a lot of these things began to get pushed to the side, even so much so that they would not defend certain parts of the Constitution, because they knew, and by they, I mean those who sought to overtake our country, they knew that by playing on the emotions and the heartstrings of Americans, no matter what their ethnicity, they would be able to win to a specific degree and a specific level. And I believe that's exactly what we're dealing with right now. Our country is torn asunder. It is, excuse me, very divided. And
yeah,
and even more than divided, it's been split into threes and into fours, because you've got several different ideologies now, and it's pretty much the way they like it, because they really do need chaos in order for them to thrive. But as it relates to the amendments and as it relates to the Constitution, they would like us to believe that even the Electoral College was framed in a way that is based on slavery, which it just had like one little teeny tiny sentence dealing with the southern states. And so the Democrats then after that took that and just said, okay, well, we're just going to play on words, which they do very well. And by they, I mean any of them, really, frankly, right? Because you don't even have rhinos anymore. To Black Spring's point and my point earlier, there are no more rhinos. It's just a bunch of mess. But getting back to the Electoral College, I think one of the problems was because it did have that little bitty portion in there about the southern states, they then used that later on to say, well, let's just abolish the whole thing. Let's just tamper with the framework of America. Let's just take what makes us special and what makes this country great and what makes this country phenomenal and destroy it from the foundation to the rooftop. And that's exactly what happened. By being able to step in and claim that things like the Electoral College was prejudice and like the amendments were prejudice and like this one owned slave owners and this one was a slave owner and that one had slaves and that one had slaves. Okay, I get to the point where I just can't listen to it anymore because even though we know that it has everything to do with who we are as a country, that portion of our past, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China when you tell me that you have been sworn in to uphold that very same instrument that you are now attempting to tear asunder? That they don't match to me. It's like she said earlier, Black Spring's point, gaslighting. You're trying to tell me that what you're doing is good for me when what you're doing is completely 100% opposite of what makes me a part of this great nation. Okay? Of what makes me a part of this great nation. And I don't care what anybody says. If people don't like it, that's okay. I understand it. But our country is and forever has been one of the best places on the face of this planet to live. Whether you want to accept it or not, that's okay. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. But this country is a place that everywhere you've ever gone, for everyone in the chat who's ever gone abroad and you've been to different places, people sort of run to you and talk to you and want to know more about where you are, what you're doing. Why? Because they love this country so much so that people will break down their doorways to get from their homes to here. If it were not so, then people would not show up in mass droves. Now, we can also say that there are people who have plotted against us, and so they have decided to help those who really don't care anything about our country to come over here. Well, yes, we know that, and that goes without saying. But we are a constitutional republic if we can keep it. Henrietta Simon said that, and that is an exceptional quote from one of the framers of our country. Now, let's talk about what we can do on a smaller level to get ourselves in a place of right. What can we do? What do you say, AZ and Fidel? What is one of the answers? There are several answers. We're not going to just harp on the fact that these people are a bunch of lunatics and narcissists, which they are, and thieves. And if you remember the other night, we did look at specifically Benedict Arnold. Why? Because he was a sellout in every step of the way. He was about that money. He was about that money. That's what he was about. And that's the reason why he thought he was going to get something. He thought he was going to get position. He thought he was going to get power if he rubbed elbows with Britain a little bit more, with the Queen. He just thought this is going to work out for me because it was all about him. What do you think the answer is? What is one of the answers? What are some of the answers?
Well, to be honest, I don't know what the answer is. What I do know is that you can't look back in history and think that only certain things were done or certain things were not done. I believe it's been a constant running battle since we became a nation. You had those who were already invested in slavery, not wanting to give Black men and women personhood. They insisted on keeping Black men and women as property, and therefore they have no rights, and they are just uh, not even chattel, just like your farmyard animals. So the battle has been ongoing ever since. Um, I can't remember when the 12th Amendment, or I'm sorry, the three quarters concept, less than a whole person, came about. But in a way, it could have been like a compromise between nothing and a Black man or woman not being a person to one extent, and a Black man or woman being a whole person on the other extreme of that. So it's like it's like a football that's been kicked around or fought over since our founding, and probably before. What the motivations are, I don't know. One of the examples I have is after the Civil War, or at some time after the Civil War, prior to which there was no such thing as a marriage license.
Mm-hmm.
Your family would gather with your preacher. Your preacher would conduct the ceremony in the sight of God, joining a man and a woman together. And the history of it would be recorded in your family Bible. That so-and-so married such and such, and who the families were and everything else like that. It wasn't until after the Civil War, and I found this out in an old Bouvier Law Dictionary. I'm not sure whether a Black's Law Dictionary would address this, but it was some of the northern states instituted marriage licenses in order to prevent race mixing.
Yes, that is very true.
And yes, and somehow it just became institutionalized where all of us have to get supposedly marriage licenses now, with the exception that some states have developed like a covenant marriage that puts more of the responsibility on the man and the woman rather than the state. But I mean, these little battles, this is like one aspect of this massive battle that's been going on, either to grant Blacks more rights or to diminish their rights. I'm sure you're familiar with like Lyndon Johnson and the possible ulterior motives he had in pushing the Civil Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just give Black men and women constitutional rights like everyone is supposed to have? Why create a law that gives rights? Because a law can be rescinded,
Mm-hmm.
whereas constitutional rights cannot be taken away. They are from God,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just guaranteed by the nation.
Yes.
These are questions that bounce around in my head, and I don't have answers to a lot of them. I just have questions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? This is what I'm going to say. You have brought up some exceptional points. You
Yeah,
have brought up
very
some very thought-provoking points, and excuse me, I am going to bring it all into the now, because everything you just said is actually what the foundations are based upon. But here's what I want to do. Again, Black Spring knows that I like to play the devil's advocate. I find it a very needful thing. Okay, one of my favorite books. I find it a very needful thing to do. Okay, and here's why. Because if you look at it like this, there was a time where slavery was in high demand for obvious purposes. But follow me, if you will, and imagine that the slavery of the Native American, which is my people, um, we are Cherokee and Creek from Mississippi.
Oh,
We were here, we were here long before Mr. Faco Columbus. Okay? We were here.
yes.
So if you look at what happened with slavery, you will see that it could have been a test dummy. It could have been the trial to see what would happen if you attempted to first take over and subdue a land, and then later subdue all the peoples with an S of that land. Because right now, all of us have been put into a place of slavery. To your point, when you get married, you have to have a license. You've got to pay for something, and then you got to deal with somebody else if you ever decide that you want to break that covenant, which you shouldn't, but you do, and some of us all have. Now you got to go pay somebody else for that. So I'm going to make some money off of you there. If you decide that you want to own a car, well, I'm going to take some money from you for you going to buy that car, and then you're going to pay the person that you're purchasing it from, and then you're going to pay the city or the county some money for the taxes. And then after you do that, you're going to continue to pay taxes every single year up until the car gets a certain age. And now if you want to drive anywhere, I'm going to make sure that even though the Constitution states that you are able to travel and nobody can prevent you from going from place to place because you are your own person, you're your own, right? I'm going to now say, okay, now you are going to have to purchase this car, pay the taxes on the car, and every year you're going to have to pay me. Now you get a license. You got the license, but now to have the license, you got to pay for that. And if you break any of these laws that we have, because now you've agreed to own this license, you've agreed to the rules and regulations that are binding you to this license to drive. Now I'm going to charge you a fee for driving on public roads. And if you hadn't taken this license, then you would have no fee. So now you are a part of that slavery, okay? Every single thing that we do here in the United States is based on the whole entire fact that they were able to get away with one thing. They were not only able to get away with the slavery portion of it, but they were also able to get away with the sharecropping portion. Why do I say that? Because my people were the people that they were offering sharecropping. Let me come to your land. Let me come to your land. Let me help you mechanize the farm. You teach me how to farm, and I'm going to help mechanize it. But we're going to share, even though it's your land. And even though I know you can't read my spells or my words, I'm going to make you just put an X. We're friends. You trust me. No problem. Now that you trust me, watch me run off with all of your land. And watch me now lie and say that it is mine. I said it. It was me, Felicia Lockhart. I said it. That's exactly what happened. But the deal is that because the focus was only on believing that the Blacks or the Native Americans were the slaves, unfortunately, the rest of America got a bit comfortable and did not realize that those same exact factions or those same exact individuals who thought about slavery as a form of money, they didn't think about the fact, remember, we're playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Let's keep it in perspective. We're playing devil's advocate here. You got to have this thought process in order for us to be able to dilute this thing and tear it down. In order for us to slice this, we got to play devil's advocate. So the people who were looking at the poor Black slaves and the poor Native American slaves did not think for one moment that it could be eventually them. And so we ended up destroying our history, forgetting about the history as people began to get smarter and as technology began to come in, where we had the ability to start to think a little broader. They began to snatch down pictures and they began to snatch down monuments and they began to quash all of the past. Why? So that if for whatever reason you did not remember the past, there's a great chance that they was going to be able to play it on you too. Enter the masks.
Yes.
Enter the lockdown. Enter the communist rule in our backyard. So I submit that the whole entire plot was a plot to steal a nation. That each and
Yes.
every one of us at one point or another has reaped the stench of slavery in America. The most unfortunate piece is that the people who were strong enough to live through it have gotten through it. But now there are a bevy that don't know how to hang with that heavy oppression. And so we are here. And that is the reason why we have no choice but love. We don't have a choice. All we can do is love. Why? Because from my culture and beyond, we all know, and those of us who love the Most High, we all know that the most powerful healing thing is love. Why? Because if we dwell there, where all of that hatred, where all the people were hanging from trees, where all the people were getting shot in the back, like my uncle did in Mississippi back in the 60s, walking out of a store. Walking out of a store, he got shot in the back, and the man did not serve one moment in prison. But we all know that if we focus on that hate, and if we focus on all of that corruption, that we will lose sight of where we are right now today. Because if not for the grace of God, there goes I. When we close our eyes to history, when we close our eyes to what was going on then, when we only think that it's just them and not us, we are now faced with the exact same plight of over 400 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Because the spirit that attempted to dwell and take over then is still that same spirit. It's still those same cats. It's still those same cats. Follow me. Riddle me this. Riddle me this. How is it that they know exactly what buttons to push? How is it that they know? Some of them are very close to being centurions. Do you really think that these are new philosophies? No. If you've got people who are living off of the way a vampire would, and they are centurions, how far removed from those men, evil as they were of old, are they? How far removed are they? If they're 90 years old and they still look like they're walking around upright, looking like they something out of the movie Blade, don't want to get in the sunlight. How removed are they? The greed and the necessity to control and to take over is not something that was only used against the Native Americans and Black people. Greed and the need to have more is something that they can take over everybody with. And that's the only reason why I say we've got to have love.
Yes.
We must have love. We have to. Because now we all need each other. Think about it. What did the slaves do? Look at that piece of history. How did some get away? Baby, we are about to be on lockdown for real.
Yes, we are.
So that's the reason why I'm saying now we need to dwell on what is good, what is noble, what is perfect, what is of a good report, what is loving, what is kind. We need to think on that. And if we use the past for anything, it must only be used as a roadmap out. Think about that. Think about what I just said. If we use the past, it should not be to cause divisiveness, but we need to look at a way out. And we do that in unity, and we do that because we are brothers and sisters in the exact same race. the human race. It does not matter what the ethnicity is. We do this together, and therein lies the bane of their contention. Therein lies the bane of their contention. Why? Because you can't use that on us. No, sir. No, ma'am. It ain't going to work. It's not going to work. And so even though we know that we have all of these laws and rules and things and stuff that they are now saying is, oh, it's steeped in racism, it's steeped in this and it's steeped in that. We know they're liars because we know the truth. Because see, here's the thing. They try to hide a lot of history, but because we have the Holy Spirit, because we have and been made in the presence of our Father, and we have been made in his image, he speaks to those of us who will allow him to, and all of us hear him, but not all of us heed. Because of that, we now see what the truth is, and you can't use a lie on us no more. We ain't gonna be scared. Everybody in this chat, we don't have no fear. What I'm gonna say is, square your shoulders. We ain't afraid. Our hope was never in them jokers anyway. Our hope was never in those jokers anyway. What did Jesus say? What did Yeshua call them? You go tell that fox. You go tell that fox. That's what he said about him. He called him a fox. You go tell him, this is what I say. Huh? There you go. Forgiven and blessed, because you see, they have studied our playbook. They have studied the word better than some of us have. And that's the reason why we started our night out with some strength and some power. Because if you don't have dunamis power from on high right now, you will succumb to anything. And yes, even the fear of those who are not like you will overcome you if you do not remember to go and drink from the well that will give you eternal life. You got to go drink from the well that gives you eternal life. Yeah, I know some people will say, that's crazy. The way she's talking, look at what's going on over here. Look at what's going on over there. They just had this happen in Nashville. They just had this happen and this and that. Hey, I report on this stuff, so I know what's going on. What I'm telling you is that ain't my truth for my life, because my life is hid in the Father, and so is yours. And you will declare it and you will decree it. And that is what you will say, that your life is hid in him, and that with him you live, you move, and you have your being. That is what you will say. I'm so glad you got a chance to come up here with us, because you have always had such wise things to say. Sir, you are really an awesome cat. I really want to thank you. So tell us, do you have a channel? Where can we find you? Tell us about yourself.
No, I don't have a channel, but I'd like to tell you, I agree with everything you've said. We can look at this whole thing on various levels, but ultimately, I hope that we've all read the end of the book and we know how things ultimately play out. Perhaps what we're going through now, between left and right, as you referenced about evil, we're being separated out, the wheat from the tares. And even within the right,
Mm-hmm.
the wheat is being separated from the chaff. We know who the real godly, conservative, constitutional believers are, who want a system that works, and those who would undermine it. So on many levels, we're fighting this battle. And I would like to think that the battle will end. I just think the battle will continue. But at this point, we are winning, because now these things are out in the open. We can identify who the enemy is. We know the battles that need to be fought.
And we know that the battle is not ours, but
yes,
he who is mighty in battle. Who is like the Lord? There is no one. Who is like him? For he is great and mighty in battle, right? He is mighty in battle. He is mighty. And if we just stand back and let him do the thing and go ahead on and pray, we got the rest. He got it all. He takes it all. That's all we got to do is just trust him. That's
Yes,
all.
and he wants us to be either hot or cold, but not lukewarm. Perhaps now is the time we need to stand up.
Well, if you don't
I'm not,
stand up, you're definitely gonna get knocked down or trampled. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
gonna be
right.
it's gonna be one of the two. Either you gonna run and do your thing, run into battle, and if you don't run into the battle, then you just might, if you stand there long enough, you're definitely gonna get trampled underfoot.
Yes.
Black Spring, will
Yes.
you please send that link to our brother? He is looking for the link, and I want
Is
to know if
it
you'll send it.
paralysis?
Yes, yes. Please
Okay,
send
let
it
me
to
see if I
him.
can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Loving them.
ladies.
Oh, we
Ladies.
appreciate you. Thank you. Please
Yes,
come back.
I will. I'm gonna jump out now.
Okay, well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy he got the opportunity to come and see us. Hello, Headlines with the Voices here. Hello to you. Dynamic work today. I saw one of your videos today, you guys. I love this channel. This is one of my favorite channels. And it is the most sobering when you hear the truth that comes out. A lot of people can't handle the truth. They want it to be candy coated. Well, if you like suckers and lollipops, baby, don't go to this channel right here. If you like the truth and the sincere meat, if you want that meat, that's the place you go right there. If you want the truth, that's the place you go right there. If you want somebody to just give it to you, mamby-pamby, yeah, don't go over there. Don't go over there. But if you want that good, that's where you go. I appreciate you for being here this evening, madam. Thank you so very much. Nancy Morgan Hart, Headlines with a Voice, is here with us tonight. We are just having a little bit of a chat, talking about some of the current events. I wish that you could come on because the video that you put up today, I'm not even sure if I could play it. I'm so afraid to put any more videos on Nancy Morgan Hart. I put on a video the other week and they didn't give me a strike. What they gave me was a warning. They spanked my fingers. They spanked my hands because I had gotten a little busy and decided to play a video. And as I was playing said video, they zapped me. So there was that. But it would have been great to have you come on. But we don't want to put you to work, but we are appreciative of your presence. As we are with all of you, thank you all so much for being here. So tell me, Black Spring, what do you think about what our friend just shared with us? What do you think?
I think that he's right on with a couple of, I mean, with many aspects, in terms of, just the battles, the battles where I think it's continuous. It's never, I think we win a lot of, we like to, I think we win battles, but then we don't really win wars. Is so much.
So tell me what you mean as it relates to what we're dealing with right now in America. That's how you're feeling, that we win like little battles?
Well, even I don't think that would be. I think that so much has been squandered and so much is out of control. I'm not sure. As he said, I will echo, just add to what he says. I don't have the answers. No, I don't. But I know that what we're doing is not. I don't think what we're doing is sustainable.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question because you and I had this as a personal conversation is what we had, and we're going to shift here just a little bit. And I want to shift to the whole candy bar situation. For those people who have considered taking the candy bar, now you will see that it's not just considering taking the candy bar. They have now made it to where, I believe it's in Florida today, they brought up a story that was basically talking about having to have this traveling passport in order for you to get where you need to go. Talk about chattel, right? Tell me, are you familiar with that? Have you heard about that? I read that earlier today on my lunch break. What do you think?
I did not read that, but I do know that sometimes I have a tendency to look abroad and get, and I see that that's kind of like foreshadowing in some ways of what's coming here, unfortunately. But I've seen Australia pick up some things. I've even seen where the Israelis that they were getting some type of ID card in which, they were told point blank, you will be, you will, we will, you will be allowed to attend, you'll be allowed to go to restaurants, but that will only be after you've received the second dosage. But also you will not be just at will to just do whatever you want. You may not be required to quarantine, or after you've been, in the presence of someone that has been infected, or however you visited someone who's been infected, but you're not regaining, what can I say? Do I dare say the word liberty? You won't be fully restored your liberties even with your little ID card, green ID card or something is what they're referring to it as. I think for is the Israeli um, that program. But Australia has added some new things as well. So I'm not sure what that means here, but I'm
I'll
thinking
tell you what it means here. What it means here is just what you see. It's just what you see over there. Okay. It's exactly what you see over there. And I think that's the piece that we really should be, as far as focusing on the money of it all, yeah, we were obviously angry for the right thing. But as we look at this whole entire topic now with the peace and the not being able to go here, not being able to go there. Well, we know that that is biblical. It is. It is. And not only is it biblical, it's also reminiscent of the past, dealing with some of the things that has gone on in foreign countries, that have gone on in other places. Um, and with that said, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the whole yellow star, the whole giving a tattoo, the whole all the stuff. So, they're trying to make it to where you're really going to be an outcast. And so, how do you deal with that if you're not self-sufficient? It takes us back, full circle. The only way that we can deal with it is by being self-sufficient, and the only way to be self-sufficient is to do like the Bible says and to come out from her. You got to come out from her, come out from among her. You must separate. Somebody was talking about biddies. Somebody had chickens. Somebody said they had some biddies they were taking care of, and then somebody else said they were going to be canning, and somebody else said they were going to be doing this or that. That tells me that is I think it were all mostly women that were saying that they were going to be doing these things, but that is a Proverbs 31:10 through 31 woman all day long, taking care of the household. And there are men out there who are excellent at taking care of their future and making sure that they've got everything that they need. That's the name of the game right now. That's getting within a community where you can barter, getting within a community of folks that you know. Okay? Because if this statement right here, that scheduler SCDHL just shared, which is how we all feel, if there's any truth to that right there, if that is what we're going to do, then you need a community. You, without a doubt, you're going to need a community to do that. You're not going to be able to just trust yourself. I mean, how long can 2 cans of pork and beans take you? How long can two what?
Well, absolutely. I think I'm saying when I say that,
I'm with you.
I think that they're just playing mind games here in terms of that we will be subject to. What was it, Andrew Yang, that I think texted something out. And see, to me, these people, they tell you exactly what they're thinking, and they actually tell you exactly what's about to happen. It's all pre-programmed, pre-programming, and not only showing people what's possible, showing them what's actually coming, what's actually ahead. And I guess it's going. I don't know how quickly it's going to come, but I don't know at what point will Americans say it's enough is enough of this.
Well, Tina Hardman,
roll over.
You see what Tina Hardman said? I'm going to be getting me a book. The name escapes me right now, but it's all about edibles. That's what SCDHL said to Tina Hardman. It's all about edibles. Well, we have another visitor here with us for the last 10 or 15 minutes of the show here. Hello, how are you, kind sir? It is none other than paralysis by analysis.
Woo-hoo.
How are you? How are you? Are you doing well this evening? Thank you for coming in.
By paralysis. You didn't deserve my last note just there. I apologize. It won't happen again.
And for all three of us to be musicians, all we need is just it's okay. Try it again. So how's it going there, sir? What say you this evening? What say you?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Y'all are sort of stuttering like a broken Max Headroom. I can't really hear. Am I on?
Can you hear us now?
It's starting to come through a little bit, but can you hear me okay though?
Yeah, we hear you fine. You know, that happened the last time you came on with us. So I submit that it's something on your end. You might want to check that internet connection. Are you on a cell phone or are you on the computer?
No. What it was is remember I can hear you now. Okay. What it is, you can end up asking a Black Spring. It seems like that's been happening to a lot of people, where when they come on, it stutters for a little while, especially I'm guessing on rooms that are speaking too much truth. I think that's what it is. But no, like to actually come back to what you were saying, Felicia.
Felicia, happy.
Felicia, I'm so
Felicia,
sorry.
no worries.
I butchered your name.
No, it's just that when, the whole Friday movie, for years since that movie's come out, I've had to deal with the Bye Felicias. And now I'm so happy that we've got Karens. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that people can now be called Karen. So yes, it is Felicia, like happy. Go ahead and share it with us, brother. What you got to say?
But Friday was such a good movie, though, man.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, Craig.
But anyway, now coming back to what you were talking about, as far as love being the primary thing, I know there was probably a couple of people, and I definitely fall in that category of being super cynical and roll their eyes about that kind of stuff. But it actually reminds me of something I've seen throughout the years, but I've also noticed as far as teaching in Black Springs. You tell me. Do you notice how if you walk into a conversation and you haven't really been hearing what it was about, and all you get to see is the first impression of an argument, right? One person is angry and the other one is calm. Who do you think is probably winning the argument? Doesn't matter if the person who's calm is totally wrong. Do you notice that? Do you notice that the person who is calm, they always look like they're winning? It's the same with when you teach in Black Springs. I'm sure you knew this from the teaching, especially when you got those problem children, right?
Yes.
The moment they get you angry, they have this look of triumph on their face. You know what I mean?
It's totally.
They're like, I got you angry. I got you. I own you. And what's hilarious is if you remain calm and you just sort of give them negative reinforcement, but you sit there and go, all right, bud, I'm going to give you a final warning about this. Doing this, then I'm going to have to end up actually sending you the principal. Yeah. But you do it calm.
Turn the light on.
It turns them furious, man.
Yes, I absolutely. I've observed that just in many instances before, and I just think it's almost magical. It's not even something you can practice, it's just the self-restraint. I don't know. You have to, I need a coach, a self-restraint coach.
Well, I must say, before I started teaching, I had a lot of practice with that, with arguing with women. It's like one thing you end up. Oh, I know. I'm such a sexist pig. I know.
No. I'm just saying that sounds like a conversation.
But it is true. But that's the other thing too that you guys were talking about. Did I misunderstand? It sounded like y'all were just talking about in terms of the almost like a peer pressure aspect. That it almost seems like more people are going to be taking these shots and all this stuff like that, just simply because they don't want to be unpopular anymore. They don't want to lose their credit rating.
Well, I don't know anybody like that. I would just hope for their own sake that they did their own due diligence and their research, because this particular thing is not something that can be taken lightly. You know what I'm saying? They are really pushing this as if it's just something so necessary. However, I'm not sure if you guys all follow David Knight. He used to be with old boy, and good for him. I'm very happy for him because now he can be free to do what he needs to do. And sometimes you do have to be with other companies in order to build your credibility, in order to build a good following and a base. And for a long time, I think the majority of us who even watched that channel while they were here on YouTube saw him as somebody who was a beacon and who had a difference to him. He wasn't there for showboating. But with that said, he actually had something on today. And if you do go to his Twitter channel, you guys follow him on Twitter.
Yes.
If you follow David Knight on Twitter, you guys will be able to find the links that he's actually doing his active. I know that he's on BitChute. He's on a couple of other places. But to what I'm trying to get to, what he said today was that there were 5 people who, there were people in a rest home basically who had been given 5 times the normal dose of that candy bar. 5 times in the same setting, at the same time. Are you guys listening to this? This is not a joke. These people are more than likely not going to be around because that is a heavy thing. But you guys follow people like this guy, David Knight, and others who are really on it, who are at the forefront of research, who really have been doing this for a very long time. And you will definitely see that this is nothing that you need to feel like you need to be a part of the group in. What I'm trying to tell you is hurry up, run, get the heck away from there. Don't deal with it if you can. But I do want to caution everybody as to what it looks like, because in as much as I do believe in prayer and I do believe in love, I want to tell you this thing that will be happening in the natural. And that is that you are going to have to consider your job pretty soon. You are going to have to consider your home, where you live, pretty soon. You are going to have to consider these things. Why? Because the timetable is such that what they're looking to do is to prevent you from being able to move freely about the country and about the world. What do you think about that, sir?
Well, I mean, I'm not about to sit here and say that I'm entirely 100% courageous in that regard. When it comes to the injection, no, I know that I'm not going to take it.
Okay, let me go. Wait, no, devil's advocate. You can't come back to work. Don't come back to work unless you got it.
I won't be. Well, no, I already know that I won't be.
I know that's right.
You better say it. Well, I'm a school teacher. I guarantee you that they're going to end up. Technically, they can't fire you specifically for the not taking the candy bar.
Now they can.
But, well, I guess they can. But
new law.
Even if they couldn't, it takes nothing for them to find something on you.
Yes, you're right about it.
So even if they don't want the bad press,
you're right.
It takes nothing. They can make up hearsay about students who are like, oh, well, you were supposedly, acting out violently and whatever.
Yes.
Like, what are you talking about? I barely raised my voice. Doesn't matter. They can make up whatever, because I've been there before. I've seen teachers get blackballed by administrators that just simply, they don't like those teachers and they just make up stuff.
That's terrible.
They just make up, or they have a student that comes in and they treat that one student complaint like it was several students. And lo and behold, that one student, is that a good student? No, it's always the troublemaker who's just angry at that teacher because they got in trouble. And so now they're going to start talking smack. I'm so tired of being held hostage by a few of the kids, because it's happened to me and it's happened to several teachers. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I had to vent on that one for a second.
No. Go ahead.
But with that said, though, these poor kids, I mean, most of them, I feel bad for them. I don't feel bad for their parents, because even though some of these parents are in tough scenarios, and you can even argue that, why are they in tough scenarios? Could that have been prevented? Yeah, probably. Because most of the time, it was just like I mentioned earlier. When it comes to any kind of problem, especially enslavement, most enslavement and most problems don't just happen out of thin air. Most of the time, the water continues to be raised in temperature, just like a lobster.
Come on now.
Smart, you're going to end up feeling it getting hotter, and you're going to get out of there. But most people, they don't start screaming and yelling until they're being boiled alive. And you're like, you better preach it. Not feel the heat before.
You better preach it.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but how many of these people? And I talked about it for so long, and I already complained about this. I'm not going to complain about it again. I'll just say it like real fast. Am I on the verge of getting fired because of not wearing a face mask? Because I did. I talked out against it. I talked with a lot of kids about it and gave them the facts. I never gave my opinion. I just, when they would ask about it in class, I would say, well, just go see what the CDC and the WHO say here and look at the New England Journal of Medicine. Notice how they end up actually saying that they don't end up working. And if anything, they end up giving you a lot of the times bacterial pneumonia, blah, 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 blah. All the things you guys have talked about. You and Black Springs have talked about 1,000 times over, right? And I would just give them all the facts and all this stuff like that. Do you think the administration got on to me? No, they didn't get on to me, actually. Most of the time, they'd walk in, they'd see a lot of students didn't have their face masks on. They'd see I didn't have a face mask, and they wouldn't say anything. You know who did it? The parents. The parents complaining, finally forced the administrators' hands. And then finally, the last second, the administrators had to end up being like, I'm sorry, but we got to write you up. And then if you get another write-up, it's going to be, either a firing or we're going to have to end up taking you off. So we're doing it to ourselves, guys.
How so? How so? How so? Tell us how.
Well, that's one example. The parents, they keep blaming the schools. Oh, the schools are just so evil. Don't get me wrong. The schools are pathetic. And most of the teachers are a bunch of communists and so on. I've already, complained about this before, but it makes me furious that I keep hearing everybody passing the buck and blaming the politicians and blaming the administrators and blaming the districts. How did it get there? You know how a lot of the school got there? From parental complaints, from them whining and complaining. My kid is not getting ahead enough. And they take away the GT programs because the little snowflakes feel bad because they didn't end up all getting a little reward or a little ribbon or so on and so forth. I'm sorry, but most of the time Satan has power because we give him power.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I have to agree with you. And don't you guys agree with him in the chat? You don't have to apologize for telling the truth. Not at all. Don't ever apologize for telling the truth. But it's absolutely what's real. I remember several years ago, I believe it was back in the 90s, when they were attempting to bring here the, what is it called? It was called the United Nations Rights of the Children. And that's basically what we're dealing with right now. Let me read this here. Blessed, Forgiven and Blessed says, the Lockhart Perspective. I'm an affiliate for All American Sun Ovens and have a coupon code if anyone is interested in getting one. If not, I understand. I don't want to post it without your permission. Sister, post away. I'm not blocking nobody. Post it. It's no problem. If YouTube doesn't snatch it, which I don't believe they will, because I did check off something that says that you can leave links here. So go right ahead. If it'll post, you are welcome to. And if you all, I will have to just make this well known that is not an endorsement from this channel, nor the sponsors of the channel or any of its affiliates. However, if you choose to engage in business there with Forgiven and Blessed, just please do so at your own discretion. And this is neither an endorsement or a knock against it, but I will say it's no problem with me. I totally agree with everything you just said. And I believe that what happened was during the time where I think it was where Clinton was in office, his wife was really pushing for the Rights of the Children Act. And it said things like, if Bobby and Tommy are playing and you think that Tommy is a bad influence on Bobby, you don't have a right to tell him he can't play with that person. And if that same, Bobby is at the house and he's your son and he's got something in his room and you think that it's something in his drawers, you can't go to his room and, search it. It's illegal search and seizure. So what they did is they tried to make sure that they manipulated and made all this stuff happen where the children then even began to call 911 on the parents, right? I'm gonna call 911 on you, or I'm gonna call the police on you, or this and that. And that's what the kids were hearing. And I remember my mother, because when they first started talking that stuff about, and it was not under the Clintons, but at this time where they were talking about, the beatings and don't whoop the kids and don't do all this other stuff. There is a difference between a well-constructed whipping and a beating. I know, because my mother whipped my tail. And I thank God that she did, because there's no telling who I would have been if she had not. But with that said, my mother made sure she let us know, well, if you call them people, you better pack your bags and get ready to go with them. You call them if you want to. And we were like, Mama, we're not going to do this. No, I read what the school sent here. She was like, no, I read what the school said. And you better not even get that thought in your mind. Truth Seeker 2020 says, I planted apple trees, cherry trees, raspberry, blackberry, blueberry bushes, and grapes. and grow a large garden to do canning, and you do canning and dehydrating. Smart, 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 smart move. Excellent move. That's the kind of stuff we need to be telling each other about, you guys. We need to try to connect as best we can and start a community at a time. It doesn't look, we're all far away, but I guarantee you, out of 44 people that are in the chat right now, at least one or two people might live in the same area. You never know. I'm not saying to give out your personal information. And again, I'm not endorsing that. But what I am saying is this is how you begin to find out where people of like mind are. And this is how you begin to put it all together and understand that that is where we're headed. The Amish have had the market cornered for a long time. They cornered the market. They've done it right. And I don't know what else they're doing, in their society, in their communities, but and I really don't even know if they're still allowed to do that. You know why? Because they are so quiet, they could easily be hushed up even more, and we would never know about it, right? Those folks could probably be rushed into cities and counties and towns now that we know nothing of. But I will say that with their previous ways of life, they have left an indelible mark on all of us who can imagine them riding down the road in their little covered horse-drawn wagons or whatnot. But let's not even think about that. It's about the fact that they know how to sustain their households without the means of technology. And that's where we're headed right now, is technology being the leader here. The technology will then begin to run America. Please do not forget the story. You guys, we're about to close down here, but I don't want you guys to forget that story that we just read where, President Trump is leaning with the whole AI thing, what he just did, the executive order, where he pretty much said, hey, this is the direction we're going, and we want AI to be a major player with the American people. I believe he says that AI is the way of the future for Americans. And I also want us to be the leader with AI technology in the world, right? That's exactly what he said. I didn't say it. He said it. And so if we consider that he said it and he put an executive order, pen and, quill to parchment, he did it. These are the things that we need to consider. So when I say that, I'm saying all that to say, right now, your cell phone can tell you where you are, but it can also, if you make the mistake of choosing the wrong setting, it can also tell people who has had a specific disease or sickness around them. You are 2 blocks away from such and such today, and such has it. They've got the monkey on their back. Okay. So technology is going to become a very big curse. It's already started. Your children are already hooked on Fortnite. Your children and grandchildren are already hooked on all these games and stuff. And I do mean hooked, because these kids right now play these games and they play them for keeps. But if you'll notice what it's doing to the boys, does anybody know what these games are doing to the boys that are playing them? Their ankles cannot even move anymore. I've seen some of the videos because I was so upset. Yes, that was her. I was so upset with all of the stuff with the games. I went on YouTube and I started to look for parents who were angry and upset dealing with that Fortnite game, having all the girls' bodies. They had the girls' bodies as the skin. So no matter how old the little boy was, he had a fat round behind, looked like an apple bottom and a tiny waist, right? They all look like the females from the back. And then the boys argue with each other. They fight. They're playing with strangers. They're doing all kinds of stuff there. These little boys, if you go to the YouTube channels that are showing the parents that are at battle or at war with their kids, these kids have no ankle strength. Look at it. That is some of the things that have happened over the past several months as there has been this lockdown. But that's what this is. They only want the technology piece of things, and they will eventually not have a need for anybody to be in leadership, because you just gave citizenship, a world citizen, to Sophia. And I followed up with Miss Sophia, who became a citizen of Saudi Arabia, and she is now a citizen of several countries. Did you guys know that? Did you all know that? Yeah. Yes, she is. She is the citizen of several countries. What am I saying? What I'm saying is it's not going to be easy to escape the plans of the wicked one. But if you have the wisdom and see what's going to happen, you will be able to, with the Holy Spirit, you will be able to thwart everything and you will be okay through this season. Now, okay is relative, right? Okay is relative. I ain't gonna lie to you. Okay is relative. It has a lot to do with where you are, and it has a lot to do with what you're willing to take care of in your life and what you're willing to do for it. I want to thank each and every one of you all for being here in the chat with us this evening. Thank you so very much for joining us earlier with our reading of Psalms 1 through 5. I hope that if you were in that chat, it gave you a little encouragement to help you continue throughout this week. I hope that as we come on here live over the next few days and read more scriptures, because what I'm doing is I appreciate you guys for all joining us in the live, because what we're doing is building a very small library of inspirational scriptures and chapters that we can leave for folks to just stop by and read. But I didn't want to just read them pre-recorded. I wanted to record them live so that you guys could be a party to that, because it is a very powerful thing. So that I want to thank you for, each and every one of you, for being here. Let's take a really quick roll call. And the way I want to do roll call tonight is, if you don't mind shouting out where you're from. You don't have to say where you are right now. If that makes you uncomfortable, you can say, let's see. You don't have to tell us where you're originally from, but you can tell us the city or state next to you. How about that? And if you guys want to shout out now, let's go ahead and start the drum roll running. I don't know how to do a real drum roll, and I don't have one of those things, but I guess I can sound like I'm in a like that. I like that. I did that. That was me. I ain't got no. I don't have, my instrument is my voice. These two nice people play instruments. So if you could just, there we go. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to read them as fast as I can. Let's see. We've got Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got Maryland. We've got New York. We've got Waco, Texas. We've got Maryland, WNC, Missouri. Let's see, Midland, Texas, Southern California. All right, that's our stomping grounds. That's where I was raised. Upstate New York. And Joseph Francis Burton says currently in Presidio, Texas, on the border with New Mexico. Great. We have New York. We have, that's from Mr. Paul Graves. We've got Hobart, Indiana, New York here, sending out much love, which is Truth Seeker 2020. Australia. Hello, Richard Mason. We have a very good friend who's an excellent friend to the chat, and that is David Harris. He's from, and there he is, David Harris from Australia. Yes, he is. Anarchy Television is from Florida. I appreciate you. And then Rachel, a few of us in New York. Cool. All right. So I knew there was a reason why I just love Rachel. Down to earth people are from up top. So thank you for being here. All right, you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Cheers, Richard. We appreciate you, Truth Seeker 2020. Henrietta Simon. Oh, there's the drums. You better work it out, Henrietta. And then Chad Carr, maybe I can start posting new videos again soon, not sure. Well, if there was a problem before and it has been rectified, I pray your strength that it does happen. If that's what you want to do, that's what I pray that happens. Listen, you guys, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for spending the last hour and 50 roughly minutes with all of us here. Excuse me. And I just want to tell you guys that it is so great to be amongst you all. Please, let's not forget a couple of channels that I have here on the YouTube platform. I do have the Felicia Lockhart Show, which is the other, when you see me typing in the chat right here, this is that. Let's see. I'll just do it like that there, and you can see that. And that's the other channel right there. You guys can see that. I just had to yell at somebody in the house. So anyway, there's that. So so there's the Felicia Lockhart Show, and then there's the Lockhart Perspective, obviously. Now, the Felicia Lockhart Show is going to be generally dealing with the other part of what this show was originally done with, and that was entertainment, because that's my background as well. entertainment, and there'll also be some juicy stuff that's going on. Things that are a little bit, some stuff, if you just want to veg out a couple of days, you just want to veg, you don't want to think about the heavy stuff. That is what the Felicia Lockhart show will be converted to, because it does have some of the stuff from the Lockhart perspective on it, but it will be converted to mostly entertainment and then news that's going on within the entertainment business. And like I said, being that I was raised that way and all that good stuff, singing and everything, I like entertainment news, and that's what's going to be going on over there. But it's not just going to be geared toward one group of people. We're going to dig on everybody. So it doesn't matter who it is, you'll definitely be able to find it there. Also, with that said, please check us out on Brighteon. We have a lot of our stuff that's on Brighteon, and our whole entire appendix has been picked up and pulled over to Odyssey. So if you are on Odyssey, you can find the Lockhart perspective there on Odyssey. You can find us on Anchor. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us in a myriad of places. So I just want to tell each and every one of you guys, thank you again. Roswell, New York. Look at look at Melinda. Roswell, New Mexico. Talking about New York. Roswell, New Mexico. That's right. With the little grays, but they're green here. But that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I so appreciate all of y'all for joining us. You guys take care, be blessed, and remember that man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Before I go, I want to ask my sister, Black Spring with Autumn, what say you before we jet out of here?
Well, I would just say that you should keep the faith and try to be prepared. And sometimes, you may not be, it might be something around you, maybe preparing somebody in your household, or just preparing, or even preparing your neighbor. It's all going to be advantageous of one another. So that's my message. Thank you.
And I like the message. I like the message. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Y'all take care and be blessed. Be good and be good to each other. I've always been a unique person. You know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping